Buckle up, everyone, and welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we are going to be putting the pedal to the metal as we explore the electric vehicle and self-driving revolution.
Yeah.
But we're going way beyond Tesla.
Mm.
We're going to be taking a close look at how Chinese automakers are absolutely making huge waves in this space.
Right.
So we've got some really interesting excerpts here from Critical Materials. This is like a daily roundup of everything that's happening in the world of EVs and automotive tech.
It's a great source.
Yeah, it is. So consider this deep dive your cheat sheet, your insider briefing before that big meeting on the future of transportation. You know, the one
Yeah.
you'll be walking in like a total pro, knowing exactly how China is changing the game.
Well, and it's really fascinating how for so long this whole conversation has been dominated by U.S. companies.
Right.
But now things are shifting.
Yeah, and speaking of shifting gears, let's transport ourselves to the Guangzhou Auto Show.
Oh, yeah.
Now, this wasn't just your typical car show with like shiny new models. This was a statement. It was like a power move by Chinese automakers like Xiaomi and Geely.
Mm-hmm.
They were showing off self-driving tech so advanced
Right.
that it's making even Tesla nervous.
Well, and what's really interesting here is that both Tesla and these Chinese companies, they're using what's called end-to-end AI models for their self-driving systems.
Okay, so break that down for me. What does that even mean in like plain English?
So basically, you can think of the AI as being trained to handle the entire driving process.
Okay.
From the second you get in the car to the moment you arrive at your destination.
Wow.
And it's all without any human input.
So no hands?
No hands, potentially.
That's insane. So we're not talking about just like some fancy cruise control here.
Nope.
This is about replacing the driver entirely.
Yeah.
And apparently, there are multiple companies that are getting super close to making this a reality.
That's right. Xiaomi and Geely are even saying that their technology can navigate you from parking spot to parking spot.
Really?
Just like Tesla's full self-driving is aiming to do.
So it's like a head-to-head competition.
Absolutely. It's fascinating how Xiaomi's chairman, Lei Jun, he actually acknowledged Tesla's current lead in this technology.
Okay.
He even used the word learn when he was talking about their strategy.
Oh, interesting.
Which to me suggests a kind of respect for the competition, but also a real determination to surpass them.
Yeah, I mean, but Tesla, they've got that brand recognition, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like everyone knows Tesla.
Right.
Does that give them a real advantage in this race?
Well, brand recognition is definitely valuable,
Yeah.
but you have to remember the automotive landscape is changing so rapidly.
Mm.
Think about how companies like Uber and Lyft completely disrupted the taxi industry.
That's true.
In the world of tech, innovation can completely reshape consumer preferences practically overnight, and the same thing could happen with self-driving cars.
So you're saying we shouldn't count anyone out just yet?
Exactly. Tesla might be the big name everyone knows,
Yeah.
but the reality is there's a whole pack of competitors right on their heels.
Nipping at their heels.
Yeah. And a lot of them are coming from China. We're not just talking about Xiaomi and Geely either.
Okay, who else?
Names like Zeekr, Xpeng, Li Auto, and Great Wall Motor are all pushing the boundaries with their own AI-powered driver assistance systems.
Wow.
It's truly a global race to autonomy, and the finish line is still a long way off.
And here's where things get really, really interesting.
Okay.
A huge chunk of Tesla's trillion-dollar valuation.
I know, it's hard to even fathom that number.
Right.
$1 trillion.
But we're talking like 77% of that valuation
Wow.
is tied to the success of their self-driving technology.
That's a huge bet.
It is. So this competition isn't just about selling cars anymore.
Right.
It's about who's going to control the future of transportation.
It's a really crucial point because whoever perfects this technology first, they stand to gain a massive advantage.
Yeah.
Think about the potential implications here. This technology could revolutionize everything from personal transportation to logistics to delivery services.
It's mind-blowing.
The stakes couldn't be higher.
Okay, so we've got this intense self-driving showdown happening.
Yeah.
But let's switch gears for a second and talk about Xiaomi.
Okay.
Remember, these guys, they built their empire on smartphones.
You're right.
But their jump into EVs has been nothing short of extraordinary.
They've really taken off.
Especially with their SU7 model.
Yeah.
This thing starts at just $30,000.
That's incredible.
I know, right? And they're flying off lots faster than they can make them.
What's really impressive is how quickly Xiaomi has established itself in this market.
It really is.
It's a real testament to their ability to adapt and innovate and execute. They move at an incredible pace.
They do. It only took them 10 months.
10 months.
From launch to hit these major production milestones.
That's unheard of.
It is. Just to put that into perspective,
Okay.
it took Tesla twice as long
Really?
to ramp up production of the Model 3 to a comparable level.
Wow.
Sure, their partnership with BAIC for production helps, but it still highlights just how agile Xiaomi is. They're like this speedboat weaving through a field of tankers.
That's a great way to put it. And the impact on their bottom line is projected to be significant.
Yeah.
Even though their auto business is currently operating at a net loss, analysts estimate they could be selling 400,000 EVs annually by 2025.
Wow.
That kind of volume would make their EV business a major player in their overall revenue.
So they're thinking long term.
They are. And get this, they're even working on a direct competitor to the Tesla Model Y.
Oh, wow. So they're really targeting Tesla head on.
Seems like it.
So on the one hand, we have these established giants like Tesla, and on the other, we've got these fast-moving newcomers like Xiaomi,
Yeah,
who are bringing some serious competition to the table.
they're shaking things up for sure.
What does all this mean for the average car buyer, though?
Right.
Especially someone who's been holding out for that dream of an affordable EV.
Well, that's where things get a little tricky.
Okay.
The dream of a $25,000 electric car.
Yeah. The one everyone's been talking about.
Exactly. It seems to be slipping further and further out of reach.
Really? Why is that?
Well, there are a few reasons.
Right.
First, car prices in general have been going up significantly.
Yeah, it's not just me, right? It feels like every time I look,
No, you're right.
the prices have gone up.
The average price for a new vehicle just last month hit over $48,000.
That's insane.
It is. It's a huge jump compared to just a few years ago.
Wow.
And part of that is because automakers are focusing on higher margin vehicles,
Okay.
like SUVs, pickups, luxury models.
Right. Those are the popular ones.
Exactly. They've become increasingly popular.
But what about EVs specifically?
Mm-hmm.
Is there something inherent to electric cars that makes them just more expensive to produce?
Well, Tesla CEO Elon Musk,
Okay.
he's actually admitted that a $25,000 EV is just too difficult to make profitable right now.
Really?
He's even said that developing a model like that was excruciating. And it's not just Tesla. Other automakers are also acknowledging the challenges of producing truly affordable electric vehicles.
Like, what about Lucid?
Oh, yeah. Their CEO, Keter Rawlinson,
Yeah.
he called the low profit margins on cheap EVs terrible.
Ouch.
He's basically saying it doesn't make good business sense for them to focus on that segment of the market right now.
Okay, so that's not encouraging.
And we also have to consider the potential impact of things like the elimination of the EV tax credit and the possibility of protectionist tariffs, both of which could further inflate the price of EVs.
So it really seems like that dream of an ultra-affordable mass-market EV.
Yeah,
It might be on hold for now.
it might be.
But what about the self-driving revolution? Is that something that's only accessible to, like, the wealthy?
Right.
Or could we actually see this technology trickle down to more affordable vehicles sometime soon?
That's the million-dollar question.
Literally.
Right.
Yeah.
Haha. And it really depends on how quickly this technology develops and how quickly costs come down. Right now, the focus in the self-driving race seems to be on luxury and high-tech vehicles. But that doesn't mean it'll stay that way forever.
Right. I mean, it's like with any new technology.
Exactly.
Early adoption tends to happen at the higher end of the market. But eventually, the benefits become more widely available.
That's right. Think about smartphones
Oh, yeah.
or flat-screen TVs.
Uh-huh.
Those were once luxury items, but now they're practically everywhere.
They are. So while self-driving might be dominated by high-end vehicles now,
Yeah.
it's definitely possible that this technology will eventually become more affordable and accessible.
It's certainly a possibility.
Okay, so we've got this really fascinating dynamic playing out here.
Yeah,
The race for self-driving dominance is heating up,
it is.
and China is emerging as a serious contender.
They're a force to be reckoned with.
But at the same time, that dream of a truly affordable EV
Yeah.
seems to be fading further and further away.
Which leads to a crucial question. With so much focus on companies in the United States, have we maybe overlooked the progress being made elsewhere, especially in China?
That's a great point. And if China's gaining all this momentum, could they actually beat the U.S. to the punch and deliver a commercially available, fully self-driving car first?
That's the question.
That's something to think about as we continue our deep dive.
Absolutely.
But for now, let's take a quick pause, and we'll be right back to explore the implications of all this.
Sounds good. You know, it's almost like we're watching two separate races happening at the same time in the EV world.
Oh, two races. I like that. What do you mean?
Well, on the one hand, we've got this push towards like super high-end, technologically advanced EVs,
Okay.
packed with all the bells and whistles,
Yeah, all the fancy stuff.
like those self-driving systems we were just talking about.
Right, so that's our luxury EV race.
Exactly. And then on the other side, we have this need, this real desire for affordable and practical EVs that everyday people can actually buy.
Right, so it's not just about who can build the flashiest car.
Exactly.
It's about who can make EVs accessible to everyone.
It is. And the interesting thing is those two races are kind of intertwined.
Oh, how so?
Well, think about it. All those advancements happening at the high end with battery technology and manufacturing and software, those eventually trickle down and make more affordable EVs possible.
That makes sense.
Yeah, it's like how the first smartphones were super expensive.
Oh, yeah.
But now almost everyone has one.
That's a great point.
But we can't forget that the car industry has its own unique challenges.
Like what?
Well, the supply chain for EVs is super complicated. The raw materials are in high demand, and the manufacturing process still requires a big investment.
Right. And then there's the whole geopolitical side of things too, right?
Absolutely. We can't ignore that.
We talked about tariffs and protectionist policies, and then securing access to those critical resources for batteries. That's a whole other issue.
Yeah, it's like a global puzzle with tons of moving pieces.
And let's not forget about the software part of it all,
Oh, yeah, that's becoming more and more important.
especially with self-driving tech, right?
Absolutely. The line between the tech world and the automotive world is getting blurrier every day.
It's a total convergence.
It is. I mean, companies like Tesla, they're as much software companies as they are car manufacturers.
Right.
And this is where I think the competition from Chinese companies gets really interesting.
How so?
Well, they already have a strong track record in software development, and they have a massive pool of engineering talent.
And they're not afraid to move fast.
No, they're not. I mean, look at how quickly Xiaomi found success in the EV market.
Yeah, that's true.
It's a clear sign that things are changing, and the old guard needs to adapt if they want to stay in the game.
So adapt or die, basically.
Well, I wouldn't say die.
Okay, adapt or get left behind.
That's better. And it's not just about adapting to the technology, it's about understanding how consumer needs and expectations are changing.
Yeah, especially as more people move to cities.
Exactly. I mean, think about it. Ride sharing, e-bikes, scooters, the whole idea of autonomous vehicles. It's all changing how we think about transportation.
It's not just about owning a car anymore.
Right. It's about having access to a bunch of different ways to get around that fit your lifestyle.
And that's where EVs and self-driving tech and all these connected services, that's where it gets really powerful.
It does. Imagine a world where you can just summon a self-driving electric car.
Wow.
Whenever you need it. And it's perfectly tailored to what you need, whether you're commuting alone or with your family or even using it as a mobile office.
That sounds like something straight out of a sci-fi movie.
It does. But if you really think about it, all the pieces are already starting to come together.
They are. And companies like Tesla and Xiaomi, they're racing to put those pieces together.
It's a really exciting time to be following all of this.
It is. It's a little daunting too, though, right? When you think about all the challenges.
Well, yeah, there are definitely challenges.
I mean, it feels like we're on the verge of a massive transformation.
We are.
And the possibilities seem endless. But so do the potential roadblocks.
That's true. It'll be fascinating to see how it all plays out in the next few years.
One thing's for sure, though.
What's that?
The future of transportation is electric. It's connected, and it's going to be increasingly autonomous.
No doubt about it. And the race is on to figure out what that future will actually look like.
All right, so we've covered a lot of ground today.
We have.
We've talked about the competition in both the EV and self-driving spaces, the incredible success of Xiaomi, and the fading dream of that super affordable electric car.
Right.
But before we wrap things up, I want to circle back to something you mentioned earlier.
Okay.
About the global nature of this whole thing. It's easy to get caught up in what's happening in the U.S.
Oh, yeah, for sure. It's a natural bias. We tend to focus on what's happening in our own backyard.
But it's important to remember that innovation is happening all over the world.
It is. And China in particular is making incredible strides. Not just in manufacturing, but in research and development, too. They're investing a ton of money in the future of transportation.
And we've seen it with the progress they're making in self-driving technology.
Right.
Plus, they have this huge domestic market where they can test and refine all these systems.
Yeah, they're not just content with dominating their own market either.
Oh, really?
Chinese companies are looking to expand globally. And they definitely have the resources and the ambition to make it happen.
So what does all this mean for the more established players,
Yeah.
especially those in the US and Europe? Are they at risk of falling behind?
Well, they can't afford to get complacent, that's for sure. The competition is fierce.
Yeah.
And the pace of innovation is relentless. They need to be agile and adaptable and willing to try new things.
New technologies, new business models.
Exactly, if they want to stay competitive.
And they need to think globally.
Absolutely. The car industry is becoming more interconnected than ever before. The winners will be the ones who can figure out how to navigate this complex global landscape.
It's a time of huge opportunity, but also a time of major disruption.
You got it. The choices that companies and governments are making right now, they're going to have a big impact on the future of transportation.
And that brings us back to you, our listener.
Right.
We've given you all the latest insights on the EV and self-driving revolution.
I have.
And now you have a better understanding of who the key players are and the forces that are shaping this industry.
But the question is, what will you do with this knowledge?
How will you use this to make your own decisions?
Yeah, maybe even help shape a better, more mobile future.
Will you be an early adopter? Will you embrace these new technologies as they come out?
Or will you wait and see how things play out?
Or maybe you'll be even more involved and advocate for policies that promote sustainable transportation.
That's a great point. These are the questions we hope you'll think about as you continue exploring this whole world of transportation.
Because the future of mobility isn't something that's just happening to us.
It's something we're all creating together.
And on that note, we'll wrap up part 2 of our deep dive.
But stick around.
We'll be right back to share some final thoughts.
And a question that will keep those wheels turning.
Long after this episode is over. You know, it's funny. We always talk about the future of transportation like it's this far-off thing.
Yeah.
But honestly, it's happening right now.
It really is. All the decisions being made, the investments, the policies being debated, it's all shaping what transportation will look like tomorrow.
And it's not just the tech itself, right? It's about how society is changing.
Right.
Like consumer preferences shifting, you know, and all those complex geopolitical things we talked about.
Absolutely. Think about the rise of remote work.
Yeah.
The focus on sustainability. More and more people moving to cities.
Yeah.
These trends are all impacting how we move people and goods.
It's like we're at this crossroads.
Yeah.
Where technology and the economy and social trends are all coming together.
It's true, creating these huge challenges, but also some amazing opportunities.
And the companies and countries that figure out how to navigate all of this, those are the ones who will define the future of mobility.
Definitely.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave you with one final thought.
Right.
I've talked a lot about this race for EV and self-driving dominance.
We have.
But maybe the real race isn't about winning or losing.
That's interesting. What do you mean?
Maybe it's about something bigger, you know?
Okay.
Like working together.
Yeah.
Find solutions that benefit everyone, not just a few.
I like that.
Imagine a future where transportation is truly sustainable, accessible, and just seamlessly fits into our lives.
Where technology helps us get around instead of dictating how we do it.
Exactly. Now that's a future worth fighting for.
It is.
A future where getting from point A to point B isn't a hassle.
Right.
It's an opportunity to connect and explore.
To experience the world.
And that's the challenge we leave you with today.
Okay, I like it.
As you keep learning about all this, ask yourself, what role will you play in creating a better, more mobile future for everyone?
Will you support policies that promote sustainable transportation? Will you invest in companies creating innovative solutions?
Maybe you'll just make more conscious decisions about how you get around in your own life.
Yeah, it all makes a difference.
Every action, big or small, helps shape the future.
It does. So until our next deep dive,
keep exploring.
Keep asking questions.
And keep those wheels turning.
And remember, the future of transportation, it's not set in stone.
It's something we're all building together.